Hey guys, good morning. Welcome back to our channel, The 18 Squad. So on today's video, we have another very important update regarding the 14-day mandatory quarantine. I will give you all guys the details here shortly. So, after the Philippine government has implemented the new resolution, especially to all travelers coming from the barred countries, the 35 countries, it also came with a resolution on the mandatory 14-day quarantine. This time, there is no 14-day quarantine anymore. This is the new testing and arrival protocols in Manila if you are originating from the 35 barred countries that is on travel ban until January 31 of 2021. So let us go over the details on the IATF amends resolution on travel restrictions on the countries that are currently on travel ban, that there is no more 14-day quarantine. Foreign nationals with valid visas, as well as the spouse and underage children of Filipino citizens traveling with them, are now exempted from the travel restrictions imposed by the Philippines in connection with the new coronavirus variant. In a message to reporters on Friday, Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said the government's COVID-19 task force amended its resolution on the travel restrictions during its 95th meeting. The IATF amended its earlier resolution, IATF Resolution Number 92, on all foreign travelers covered by the travel restrictions because of the new COVID-19 variants by specifying those exempted, such as foreign nationals with valid visas, which include personnel of accredited international organizations, and spouse and minor children of Filipino citizens traveling with them, Roque said. IATF refers to Interagency Task Force on Emerging Infectious Diseases. Those who arrived for medical and emergency cases, including their medical escorts, if any, are now subject to applicable testing and quarantine protocols as prescribed by the Department of Health, Roque said. Covered by the travel restriction, which will last until January 31st of 2021, are travelers from the following countries: United Kingdom, Denmark, Ireland, Japan, Australia, Israel, the Netherlands, China, including Hong Kong, Switzerland, France, Germany, Italy, Lebanon, Singapore, Sweden, South Korea, South Africa, Canada, Spain, United States, Portugal, India, Finland, Norway, Jordan, Brazil, Austria, Pakistan, Jamaica, Luxembourg, Oman, UAE, and Hungary. Meanwhile, regarding the strict observation of 14-day facility-based quarantine period for Filipino citizens coming from these areas, Roque said, the IATF amended this to prescribe testing and quarantine protocols. Further, Filipino citizens arriving for highly exceptional and/or medical reasons and local diplomats are now subject to applicable quarantine protocols as prescribed by the DOH. He added, passengers coming from or transiting through countries covered by the travel restrictions, meanwhile, shall be tested upon arrival and shall be quarantined until the result of the subsequent test administered on the 5th day is released. Roque further said, persons who tested negative in both COVID-19 tests will be endorsed to the local government units or LGUs of destination, the IATF said. The LGUs, in turn, will strictly monitor the remainder of the 14-day quarantine through the respective barangay emergency response teams. So this is how the 14-day mandatory quarantine works now. When you arrive in Manila, you will undergo your first swab testing. Then you will undergo a 5-day quarantine in a government facility. But please remember, this is subject to availability. And if in case there is no available government facility, you will have to pay for your own hotel. Like I said, you will undergo a 5 days hotel quarantine. Then, on the 5th day, you will be tested again on your second swab test. And if both swab tests comes in negative, you will be endorsed to your local government unit to finish the 14-day quarantine. So this is how it works. You have 14 days period of quarantine. You will spend 5 days on a government facility or an accredited hotel quarantine. Then, on the 5th day, you will be tested again. In short, you will have to go through 2 swab testing this time. And then, when those 2 swab tests are negative, you will be endorsed to your local government unit. This is on your final destination. You will be monitored by the Barangay Health Emergency Response Team. So you still have 9 more days to finish your 14 days mandatory quarantine. So this is how it works this time. You don't have to spend the 14 whole days in a government facility or an accredited hotel for your mandatory quarantine because that will be divided already. Like I said, the first 5 days will be spent on a government facility or an accredited hotel for quarantine for your 2 swab testing. And when those 2 swab testing results comes in, especially if they are negative, you will be endorsed to your local government unit to finish your 9 more days of quarantine. So please take note of that. So what if you don't want to go through the second swab testing? You also have an option to that. If you refuse to do the second swab testing, you will have to finish the 14-day mandatory quarantine in a government facility provided by the Philippine government or in an accredited hotel for quarantine. So also on the cost of the swab testing, unfortunately, if you are a non-OFW, you will have to shoulder the 2 swab testing that you are going to undergo. Like I mentioned earlier, you will undergo the first swab testing in Manila. You will pay 4,000 pesos. And on the 5th day, you will undergo another swab testing again. That's another 4,000 pesos. After you have spent 5 days in a government facility or in an accredited hotel for quarantine. And I mentioned earlier, if you refuse to undergo the second swab testing, you will have to finish the 14 days mandatory quarantine in a government facility or an accredited hotel for quarantine. So this is somewhat good news because instead of spending 28 days on quarantine, now you will have to spend 14 days on quarantine when you are originating from the countries that are currently on travel ban to the Philippines until January 31st of 2021. Now, there is no advisory yet if this travel ban is going to be lifted on the 31st or is it going to be extended again. I will definitely keep you guys posted on this if the Philippine government decided that the travel ban is going to be lifted or is it going to be extended. So this is our update for today, guys. If you find this helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family whom you know that can use this video as reference. If you are new to our channel, welcome. We do travel updates, and if you are not a subscriber yet, please consider subscribing and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you will be notified on updates like this. And to our subscribers and new subscribers, thank you so much for the continued support and trust to our channel, The Eaton Squad. I hope to see you guys on our next travel update. Stay safe, stay healthy, and God bless everyone. Bye!